Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the Marvel fan site that'll have plot synopsis and character bios for this issue. We have a good one today. We're looking at Uncanny X-Men 209 from 1986. We have Nimrod versus both the X-Men and the Hellfire Club. Great cover here by John Romita Jr. I believe Dan Green inks the cover. Sorry. And we see here Colossus taking on Nimrod. And as much as I say how verbose Chris Claremont is and all the talking, there is a lot of that here, but keep in mind this issue is almost, I would say, 95% action. So, which is really good because the next issue, 210, is a lot of drama. So there's not a lot of action in the next issue, but there is a ton here. Chris Claremont basically is going to give you 2 issues worth of action because we're not going to get any next issue. So, all right. So we've got our title, Salvation, and a confrontation between the X-Men and the Hellfire Club in Central Park over Phoenix, who is Rachel Summers, was interrupted by Nimrod here, who is going to he was about to fight both the Hellfire Club and the X-Men here, and so we've got Caliban and Callisto here. We've got Tessa. I forgot this guy's name. He's the Rook, the Black Rook of the Black Queen. So this is Celine, the Black Queen. This is Leland. We've got Sebastian Shaw, and of course we've got Storm and oh my goodness, Shadowcat. Now, Wolverine and Nightcrawler are not present right now, but they'll show up, and then of course Colossus is underground, if you remember from the previous issue here. So Chris Claremont is our longtime writer. He'll still be writing for quite a few more years. John Romita Jr. here is doing breakdowns with P. Craig Russell, who is a delightful artist, is finishing here with Tom Mazagowski, Glynis Oliver, and then Anna Senti with Jim Shooter complete the editorial here. So, we got their thoughts here. And so we've got the Black Queen. We got the Rook, who doesn't even talk. He is right now possessed by the Black Queen into a Wolverine light, I would say. Shaw asked Tessa for the analysis. Tessa's like a living computer here. And she says, "We face an extraordinary, sophisticated robot, Sebastian. Its capabilities are as yet unknown, but it would be prudent to assume the worst." And then, of course, Harry Leland, who is the bishop here, says, "Shaw's so confident. Curse him. Why can't I be as strong? Heart's pounding. Too fast. Need a drink. I want to run away. But he knows I'm afraid. Does that robot, those eyes like a shark's, utterly without mercy, so alien and yet so human." And then Kitty tells Storm, "You were in Africa when we tangled with this creep, Storm." That was in X-Men 194. By the way, I have a playlist. Feel free to check that out. I have covered every issue from the beginning with Classic X-Men #1. And here we are. I own every single issue of this beautiful run. Whether it's in Classic X-Men or it's in original form. I have all the Classic X-Men until the Proteus Saga, and then from the Proteus Saga on, I have all the originals. So here we go. Rachel Phoenix feels or gets Nimrod in her thoughts. Of course, she's like, "Oh, the X-Men are going to need the help." And then she's like, "Why should I help? Their family." And then she's like, "Why did Wolverine try his best to kill me?" They don't want me. They don't care. I'm better off on my own, and so are they. So she is going away. Um, by the way, so 2 issues ago, I said it was Phoenix's last appearance in X Men. I was incorrect. This one, though, will be her last appearance on X Men for a while, and she will return in Excalibur. So, Nimrod's looking for Rachel, and he wants to destroy her. And Kitty's like, Storm, we barely beat him last time, and that was with the whole team. What chance have we two got fighting Nimrod and these Hellfire bozos, especially since you don't have your powers? And Storm says, trust me, Cat, the odds will become a trifle more even in hardly any time at all, as she smiles here. So there's an earthquake, and Rogue comes through. She was trying to rescue Colossus here and knocks out Leland here. And now that he's stunned, he's not using his power to keep Colossus in there. So Storm says, hey, go get Colossus. And so Shadowcat says, on my way, Storm. And so here, the Hellfire Club, these would be the pawns, of course. They're like, what about the robots? And they're like, we'll take him next. Shaw's orders were to eliminate Storm regardless. And so they start shooting at her, but Callisto saves her. And Storm says, I owe you my life. And Callisto's like, who's keeping score? Besides, there are times when the best of enemies have to stick together. And so these two are like, we'll just keep firing. But Nightcrawler and Wolverine end up teleporting there. So Nightcrawler brings Wolverine. And you can see they get rid of the arms, and the Hellfire pawns come running out. And Wolverine had said, want a party? And they're like, guess not. So, all right. So, Shadowcat's trying to find Colossus before he suffocates here. Meanwhile, Rogue and Shaw are going to fight. However, Rogue knows she can't hit him because he absorbs kinetic energy and then becomes as strong, if not stronger, as what she hit him with. So she's really trying not to hit him. And so she just picks him up and throws him at Nimrod. So as he hurls toward Nimrod, he uses it says here, reverse the gravimetric polarity. So basically, he is going to, instead of gravity pulling him down, he's going to go up. And so he's like, well, he'll just die in outer space. And so Selene says, I'm grateful to you, Nimrod, for disposing of my rival. Now to do the same to you. But then she uses her powers on inanimate objects, which is kind of weird because really, it's sort of like in Secret Wars when the Molecule Man says, I can only control non-living molecules, and I'm like, there's no difference with molecules. You can either control them all or control none of them. And so she is going to try to control Nimrod or destroy Nimrod. However, she realizes that he is can't do that. So Nimrod is actually partially alive here. So meanwhile, Shadowcat's still looking. We got to keep a little drama and suspense going on. And so now she uses the boulders and stuff and hurls them toward Nimrod, but it creates no effect here. And so he's kind of holding pattern here, and Storm assumes that he is trying to analyze the situation here. So then he's shot and by Callisto, but it does nothing. So he's Storm yells that they're because these two, their powers aren't really they can't really fight Nimrod. Storm orders them to please find Phoenix. So he essentially gets rid of them for the battle. And so here we go. Rogue is says she'll do some interference. So Storm says, Lena, individually, none of us is a match for Nimrod. Our only hope is to join forces. And of course, the Rook says, the Hellfire Club needs nothing from you, Wind Witch, but your life. And so he hurls towards Storm. And of course, Wolverine's like, get out of here. And he says, back off, Blimp, or we'll match your claws against mine and see who comes out on top. Of course, the Rook is like, grr. So, Wolverine says, glutton for punishment, huh? Okay, bub, you were warned. And as the Rook leaps towards Wolverine, he is disintegrated by Nimrod. And I love this, just showing, although he would be more like ashes here, but this is kind of cool here. And so Nightcrawler's like, the robot disintegrated him. And Wolverine says, what'd you figure? This was a game, Elf? Sucker means business. If we keep on this way, we are fighting amongst ourselves. And so that was Storm. We shall all share Von Rome's fate. So that was the Rook here. And Wolverine says, even if they agree, can we trust them? And Storm's like, we don't have any choice. So here, Rogue is still trying to, she still has Colossus's power here, as you can see here. And Storm finally says here, Nimrod has but one purpose, to slay mutants, X-Men or Lords Cardinal. Today or tomorrow, it makes no difference. You may hate us. I hope you love your life more. Well, lords and ladies of Hellfire, do we stand together or perish separately? And so here comes Kitty, because she can't see down there. So you can see now he becomes Colossus. That means that her power of absorption has done, so it returns to him. And Nimrod electrocutes her, but doesn't kill her. Of course, we know Rogue's still alive here. And she falls, and Rachel sees it here, and she's like not feeling well. She can't help, and she's like, if I fight, it's gonna be certain suicide here. And so Rachel, so she's struggling, and she hears some music coming from the lactorate here. And so she decides that she is going to investigate here. And suddenly, this thing comes up and it says, welcome, child, to the body shop. If you desire, we'll make a new you. Now, who this is will be revealed at the end of this issue. But for now, Rachel does not know. However, if you watched my video on X-Men 205, the Wolverine Wounded Wolf issue, that'll give you a hint as to who this is. But for now, we'll just keep going here. And here she's enticing Rachel with a whole new body, a whole new her. Meanwhile, here come the X-Men and the Hellfire Club to fight Nimrod. And Storm says, Leland, intensify Nimrod's mass to its ultimate extent. Drag him down to the ground. And the Black Queen says, an inspired stratagem, Wind Rider, judging from our foe's reaction. And she pushes him, says, down, Leland. Celine's wall deflected this energy blast. We may not be so fortunate a second time. Whatever happens, do not let up for an instant. Put as much strain on Nimrod's system as you can. And he thinks here, Leland does, as well and good, X-Men, but what about my system? And so, of course, all the people can see all the stuff going on in Central Park here. And Leland says, it's working, he's weakening. And, of course, he's like, but I mustn't, I can't, I won't, not with everyone depending on me here. So, he realizes Nimrod's that he is getting the gravity's going on him. And so Nightcrawler, he stops shooting. Now Storm, well, he's vulnerable. And so Nightcrawler says, I want to try the stunt Rogue used on him last time, teleporting a piece of him and leaving the rest. The resultant disruption should finish him off. And Storm says, we dare not, Nightcrawler, precisely because we have used it before. Worth a try anyway. Don't worry, fearless lady. I'll be careful. And she's like, Kurt, stop. Nimrod's a computer. He learns from every battle. So Nightcrawler shows up, and of course, he realizes that, and bam! He hits him, and it says here, there is a flash of flame and the gusting stench of sulfur and brimstone, but the gentle bath of imploding air is replaced by a scream none of Nightcrawler's fellow X-Men have heard from before, and Storm's like, gone! Kurt is gone! Did he teleport or was he disintegrated? Blessed goddess, Nightcrawler, what happened? So we get the impression that Nightcrawler has been killed. Of course, we know better. However, it almost would have been cool because this issue, then you would have had, you know, there would have been a bit more of stakes, but basically we're losing Rachel here, and there's stuff happening. So, and we all know Nightcrawler he'll still be around for a few more issues, I think till 211. So he'll be around for 2 more issues, and then Nightcrawler will be gone until Excalibur, same as with Rachel. So back in the body shop, she's still trying to entice Rachel, and back to the battle here. Leland thinks here, nearly done, nearly there. I must have hurt my left arm when I fell. I can hardly move. It's starting to hurt like the devil. And so here comes Nimrod, and he has fallen. Suddenly, Leland gets a heart attack. And Wolverine's like, he's barely breathing, almost no pulse. And Selene asks, what is wrong? Too many capes. So this would be Tessus here. Of course, he lets us know he had a heart attack and he should be dead within 500 seconds. And so down here, you see Colossus making his way up back to Rachel. And that part is just sort of filler. And so here comes Colossus and Kitty. She's going to disrupt him. Because her powers disrupts machinery, so the machineries within Nimrod get disrupted, and Colossus is going to pound him. Look at this. Grabs him by the hand and just throws him down. That is awesome here. And flips him again. Oh, that is so cool. John Romita Jr., as much as I, in the beginning, was kind of like, he really has found his style. When he goes to Daredevil with Ann Nocenti, the dude is money. John Romita Jr. during this time was really, really, really good. I still thinks he's still really good, but he's really simplified his style to get faster. So but during this era, man, he was really good, and his Daredevil run that he does with Nocenti, that I'm still covering Frank Miller's run, so we're still a little bit away from that Daredevil run, is really good, and I look forward to covering that run when I get to it. So, all right, back to Rachel and the woman here. So, Storm tells Selene, the Black Queen, to cover him, so he uses all these cables here, and she's like, I can't hold him for long. And Storm says that will not be necessary. So Storm goes to see Leland, and Tessa's trying to keep him comfortable, and Tessa says he is dying, and Storm says, I know, Leland, forgive me, but we need your power a final time. He's like, if I can. And she says, focus on Shaw, overcome the force effects that hurl him upwards, bring him back as hard and as fast as you can. And it says here, Leland laughs, a hoarse wheeze, but the light does not leave his eyes, not yet. He holds off the shadow with will alone, denying the undeniable, refusing the inevitable, as he imbues Sebastian Shaw with the mass of a small meteor. Nimrod knows his danger, but he can do nothing to avoid it. And love the color palette. I am a big fan of magenta. I love it when magenta is used. So you can see that big crater. And Wolverine says Fat Man had his faults, but he made his exit with style. Shaw's still breathing. And they're like, yeah, but he's unconscious. All right, get him clear. Why? Anyway, I'll take care of business. So he pops his claws here, but Nimrod disappears. And so Wolverine's like, I can't believe he did it again. Each time he gets that much harder to beat. If we don't find a way to nail him once and for all, and soon it'll be our turn. And so Tessa says the police are coming. The Lord's Cardinal can no more afford to be found here than you X-Men. I offer you sanctuary of the Hellfire Club. Let this truce last a little longer. In Shaw's name, I guarantee your safe conduct. And Storm says, under the circumstances, Tessa, we have a little alternative. Lead on. And so we get to the last page here, and Rachel is going to take the deal, and she's going to go through, but suddenly now you see all the arms, but she doesn't see it, and we reveal here that it is Spiral. I'm sure you assumed it here. So Spiral is actually the owner of the body shop, and she's gonna hope to manipulate Rachel and the power of the Phoenix for her own twisted end. Next issue, The Morning After. So it's gonna be a bit of a talker, just so that you know, but it's going to lead to the Mutant Massacre. So yeah, so things are getting really good. This is the era where I really started reading X-Men. So, good stuff here. So, Uncanny X-Men 209 by Chris Claremont, John Romita Jr. with Steve Lealoha. Like and subscribe. I do thank you for listening. Goodbye.